Very good. Thank you, Ronnie. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I got 3 or 4 questions I want to ask you, and if there's anything you'd like me to ask you, go ahead and hand it to me right now.
Okay, I'll talk about the show on the 27th, and it's hard to explain it because I haven't been coming to New England that long for the last couple of years, but I really do.
Okay, I know you've come to Portland and you've come to Bangor before.
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay, I will lead in with that. Okay.
Very good.
And then I'll get to a little bit of the tougher stuff later on.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
I won't get too tough. I'm not Barbara Walters.
Okay, Hawk.
Here we go. I have here with me via telephone from Nashville, Ronnie Milsap, one of the premier country music stars today. Ronnie, of course, will be appearing here in the Augusta Civic Center along with Jim Ed Brown and Helen Cornelius on October 27th. Ronnie, I know this is your third time appearing in Maine. You've appeared before in Portland and also before in Bangor. And I was wondering if there's anything you'd like to say about the show before we get on with the interview.
Yeah, I sure would, Steve. First of all, thank you for having me on WFAU this afternoon, and I am very much looking forward to coming to Augusta to play. It'll be our first time there, along with, you mentioned Jim Ed and Helen, and also Alex Houston works on my show. He is a ventriloquist, and he has his dummy Elmer along with him, and they do a nice comedy portion of the show, which is a very family show. Our show is, as it has always been, but I'm looking forward very much, and I can't really tell you how I feel because for the last couple of years we've been coming to Maine, as I mentioned to you before we went on the air, but I really do love Maine, man. I tell you, if I was in the summertime, I could probably just live up there and probably never go do anything, but I must tell you how much I really enjoy the times that we've been there before, because I grew up in North Carolina, and I'm living in Nashville, and I didn't have very much exposure to New England, but I must say I love it very much. The people have been beautiful, and I'm looking forward to coming back. And I don't think it's going to be too cold. You guys not going to let it snow on me, are you?
Well, it's kind of cold up here today. It's supposed to get down in the 20s tonight, but I think you can handle that, can't you?
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Listen, I noticed one thing lately about your songs. Being the music director here at FAU, of course, I listen to all the music as it comes in, and of course, being on the air, I listen to it 4 or 5 hours a day every day.
Right.
And I noticed that a lot of the stuff you're doing now is getting some heavy crossover play. Is this something that's planned, or is this something that's just happening?
Well, it started happening, Steve, when I'd done a string of records for about 2 years, and they were the up-tempo positive type records, the Pure Loves and the Daydreams about night things, and those type of songs that I was doing. And then I talked to folks in broadcasting, and a lot of people said, "Well, Ronnie, I think you probably sung all the happy songs you can sing. We kind of like something else." So I got to looking around and getting with my writer friends and started working on some records. We came up with Almost Like a Song and What a Difference, and some of the things that we're doing now. But it was really kind of a change of pace, and we didn't really make an effort to cross over. I was just looking for some good songs, and they have started crossing over, but it really doesn't change what I want to do. If they cross over, that's fine, but I am a country singer, and really the things that you're hearing now, it's not to say that it's what you'll be hearing from now on. It's just a phase of my career it's going through.
Well, does it cause any problems with your Nashville identity?
No, not really. Nashville is now is so open to everything as much as it used to be. It was very it's almost very purist-oriented here, and very purist as far as country, but most people aren't purist about any kind of music anymore. And Nashville seems to be, I don't know, it's a better feeling now that everybody seems to enjoy a little bit more of all kind of music. And country music, of course, is bigger than ever here, but I'm saying that you don't have to play, strictly a lot of fiddles and steel and all that to still appeal to a country audience. And not to say that I won't. Half of me loves traditional country music because it's what I grew up on in the Smoky Mountains. The other half of me likes to experiment a lot with electronical things, and it's kind of a hobby of mine. And I built my own recording studio here. We're just finishing up building here in Nashville at my office. And half of me likes to experiment, but my heart is in country music, and the little experimentation that I do certainly doesn't, keep me from participating in country music.
Well, where's Ronnie Milsap going from here? What can we expect in the future?
Steve, after the concert season, we're starting back, and as you know, coming through Augusta on the 27th, that we go on till November the 19th doing concerts, and we've been off here for a couple of weeks participating with, with the CMA and with all the people from broadcasting, DJs coming into town. We like to be home for that, and so we can, enjoy it. It's a nice change of pace, but after the 19th, we're going to get locked back up in the studio, and probably all winter I'm working on a new album here, and a bunch of new things coming out. Then we resume a concert schedule on the 15th of February, touring across the central part and the western part of Canada. So there's always so many new nice things to be doing, and I guess the focal point of what I want to do right now is have to be getting back in the studio and working on some more records, because without the records I probably wouldn't have a chance to come play in Augusta.
Yeah, that's true.
Anywhere else.
That's true. The records get you there all the time. One last question. I don't want you to misunderstand, because I know the word rocketed to the top or overnight success is always overused, because it always seems that way when someone gains sudden popularity. But in a way, to the non-country purist, you burst upon the scene about 3 or 4 years ago and all of a sudden gained all this popularity. I know you probably worked really hard. Where did you get your start, and how did you build up to where you are now?
Sure. I grew up in, as I mentioned, in the Smokies. I went to school in the special school in Raleigh, North Carolina, through high school. And, I grew up playing Hank Williams, and down there at school I had to play Beethoven, so I had classical training down there. After that, a couple of years of college, when I couldn't make up my mind, and I thought that maybe if folks wouldn't let me go to music school, I'd go to law school. So I had a couple of years of college trying to find myself. And after a couple of years in Atlanta, and about 3.5 years in Memphis, playing in nightclubs 7 nights a week and doing a lot of studio work, playing a session musician on some of the things that we were recording down in Memphis with Elvis and with B.J. Thomas and Dionne Warwick, some folks that a producer had me playing on down there. I finally moved to Nashville in 1973, Steve. I started working at what was then Roger Miller's King of the Road Hotel, and there was a club on the 9th floor, the roof, and a man was so nice to give me a job working there at the first of 73, and I had known Charlie Pride and Jack Johnson, who was his manager, who eventually became my manager that year, and met a bunch of folks with different record companies, and because of Jerry Bradley at RCA, I went with RCA to record records. And I've been trying to make something happen in the music business since about 1966 or 67, in that period. So I've been in this trying for almost 12 years or so, Steve. It just so happens the last 5 have been, I guess, something that I could really feel like that we finally had a direction put together, and something that I've always dreamed of doing, living in Nashville and singing country music on records. But, it didn't happen for a while. And what seems to be sometimes an overnight success, as you've heard me tell, the story is quite longer than that. But it's been very quick after it started happening, but there were a lot of years paying the dues, too.
Well, Ron, we're going to wrap this interview up because we're just about running out of time here. I'll let you do the honors, and one more time, tell the people where you're going to be and when.
Thank you, Steve. Again, thank you for having me on WFAU, and I'm looking forward to coming to Augusta. I mentioned to you, folks in New England are beautiful, and I really enjoy being in Maine, and looking forward to coming back on Friday, the 27th of October, with Alex Houston and Jim Ed Brown, Helen Cornelius. A fine family show. I'd love to see you. Come see us in the shows at 8 p.m.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. It's been all my pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Ron.